Guys, we're with Ryan A. And we're at the Brisbane Tramway Museum.
Ferny Grove.
Ferny Grove. Is there two, is there?
No, there's only one. Specifically Ferny Grove. I haven't been here.
Yeah. Oh, look at that car. That doesn't belong here. I just... Oh, I didn't even realise that was a bin. Nice.
Not many people are here today, so...
What I was thinking is we could do all the stations, Brisbane Tramway Museum edition. That would... Detailed board things, destination board. Oh, look at this! Oh.
We used to be able to go there.
Oh my god. Special. 15 cents, that's pretty cheap. Wait, 15 cents, that's pretty cheap. 15 cents. The old controls in it. What's this?
Mr. Bell. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
It is.
Oi, oi.
Yeah.
Train ready to start. Okay, I'm a gardener.
Gonna get him?
Paddington.
Yeah, look at that.
Welcome aboard this Great Western Railway service to London Paddington.
Doing a coaster for your desk.
Oh, actually,
That's cool, isn't it?
I'm not going to ask if I can build one up because, yeah, I mean, we know the obvious answer. What? Don't these stations have names?
free to hop on?
Yep, find a seat.
James, honey, can you try and take the trolley up once you've got up the steps, maybe? Thanks. Lucky in hands. Oh, thank you. There's one problem with cans.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very tight. Oh, you've taken the window seat.
There's more than one. Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna take this window seat.
Okay, now that everybody's just got settled, I'll point out that this tram is only going to do a half trip. But up till now we've been able to start the trams from down here and do a round trip. But we've run out of space to store trams down here, so we have to start from the depots from now on. So this tram car will just take uphill, and then we'll light this tram and hop on the drop centre, and we'll have the other half of this ride when we come back after we've done the bogey car.
We'll go to the back side now. From do you want to hold your drink so you can get the phone out? It's fine. Oh, you're not gonna. That'd be the fun bit.
I wondered what that string was.
They're on tram 341 right now. One of the older.
Get on, Mum.
Sorry, my little dream. I just like to be. Mother's taking photos.
Yeah,
Ah,
as mums do.
how's mums do?
We should go in the signal box. Where is it?
It's just so normally they would run trams in there, but it's a bit hard. Can I take a photo of you?
Take one.
Yeah, I had to take one.
Yeah.
Sit over there.
It'll leave without ya.
I don't think so. So I don't think either driver is here.
Just jump on the side.
So they only ever came to Brisbane once as a kid. And we did, and I think we did that group repairing thing because that's where
Ding ding.
Newmarket.
Yeah, look at these old roller blinds.
Nice. If I was to name this station, this would be Water Newton. And then he missed his tram. Oh, the bell's gone. The bell's gone. Oh, it's them.
Yeah, it's them. There's no one in the cab, mate. How can the tram be departing if there's no one in the cab?
Wait, they need to take the stairs away too.
Yeah. No, it's not ready for departure.
We should go in the signal box later.
Hey,
Oh, here he comes.
ask if they're available.
He's taking the stairs away. Ticket inspector's on.
In the event that there might be some other people waiting to board the tram down to the terminus, we'll have our talk about this one when we get down there. It'll be a long one. I've got to describe how conductors work.
Marble in the pockets, mate.
I'll tell you what, they're great.
It actually says smoking allowed.
The others, what sort of brakes did they have?
The other one's just mechanical.
We're smoking allowed?
These ones.
Yeah.
From now on.
Look.
Right.
Feel like I'm gonna fall out.
When they have the aircraft, didn't worry about it.
When we get there, ask about the signal box.
Yeah.
You've got experience in
Very windy.
What's my lunch going on? 47
Huh?
now.
That was one of the big problems we had with the overloads here. Because the children
And we're back in.
and they still consider it a play thing. Because these things here are just pretty tension. If the kid comes out and pull out, and gets him in the head for the kid. So they're serious in a play thing. They're trying to get over that stigma.
Sounds like the city hopper.
So folks, I just changed it to the trolley pole.
Ooh. It's not a pictograph, it's a trolley pole.
Pantograph trolley pole.
Just like, there's only two doors, two doors to load and unload on. The drop centre class came about because when the Brisbane Tramway Company, it lost its franchise in 1922, and just after the First World War, private companies owning public utilities was very frowned upon, and the governments and the people today didn't like a private company handling the public transport. So the public transport was progressively handed over to government control, or semi-government control. So a quango called the Brisbane Tramway Trust took over in 1922. Now, because the Brisbane Tramway Company, they knew their franchise was going to end, they were hesitant to spend any money on it to improve it if they knew they weren't going to get any return for their capital. So the tramway system in Brisbane became very dilapidated. Trams became really daggy. There was no new services put on board, there was no extensions, there was no duplications, nothing at all to expand the service or improve the service. And the Brisbane Tramway Trust's job to sort of drag Brisbane out of that dilemma and start creating new tram lines. Because as you might imagine, in the early 1920s, suburbs were popping up like mushrooms around Brisbane. And actually the trams actually assisted in the growth of Brisbane. If you have a look at a map, in the old tramway map, you had the city here, and you've got your Logan Road, you've got Nogra Road, Sanford Road, all the major arterial roads branched out from the centre of Brisbane, like a spider's web. And what happened, the trams, they built a tram terminus out in the middle of nowhere, and within 18 months there was houses all the way around it. Then when there was no more room for any more houses there, they'd extend the tram line a little bit further, and the same process had to repeat. And actually, if you look at the Enoggera tram line, that's exactly what happened there. It's sort of gone out progressively, as did the Chermside tram line. Now, because there was more people coming to Brisbane, or more people living in Brisbane, more people wanting to get round, the distances were increasing because the tramway terminuses were working their way out in the suburbs. There was a great need for larger capacity carrying trams, and up until that, the greatest load that the trams could carry was 90 passengers. So the first thing the Brisbane Tramway Trust did was to instigate the design of a completely new tram car. A 64-seat car, they thought, which was capable of carrying a maximum of 110 people. And the first drop centre entered service in 1925, and between 1925 and 1938 there was 191 that were built. 341 was actually built in 1936, as you can see on the bill displayed here, and it's been restored to the condition it was actually built in. When in the late 30s and the early 40s, all the trams in Brisbane were painted silver with a blue waistband, and they look spectacular. Anyone got any questions about the trams?
Did they fully rip up all the tracks, or are they still in the ground?
I'll get to that in a minute. These trams, as I said, they commenced building in 1925 and they were built right up to 1938, but these trams were in service right up to 1968. When the Light Street Depot was closed, all the drop centres were withdrawn, and we laboured on for the last year with just the 4 motor cars. The lady's question was, are there tram tracks still there? Yes, there are, because from 1932 onwards, the Brisbane City Council undertook to lay all their track in concrete. Now, only up until recently, it was a difficult job to get the steel, and expensive to get the steel out of the road with jackhammers and that. These days they've just got rock breakers, and they just drop and it just shatters the concrete, and they can just pull the rails up. back in those days they didn't have that technology available. So in 1969, any rails that were laid in bitumen on wooden sleepers, and they had to do that as just natural, as a natural progression, because after a number of years those wooden sleepers would rot and deteriorate, and the road service would collapse, and they'd have to rebuild the whole road. So they took the undertaking then that they removed all the wooden sleepers and the track laid in bitumen, but all the track that was laid in concrete was left there. Now people say to me, oh, why don't you just, if you want to put trams back to Brisbane, why don't you just scrape the bitumen off and run on the tracks? Well, it's not that easy, because over the years, if Telstra wanted to put a conduit across the road, they dug and cut the tram lines as they went. So there's a big gap in the tram lines, and also trams don't like doing long jumps. But also, a lot of the roads that the trams went on are now one-way streets, and the road alignments have changed, so the track system as it was then was not catered for Brisbane these days.
Thank you.
Okay, now, we were talking about crewing, conductors and roadmen. Now I don't wear this because I don't know, it shrinks every year, it gets smaller
I
and smaller.
remember seeing Queensland rail conductors wearing them.
The conductors used to wear these. See, it's supposed to be on your hip, and the belt doesn't go any longer, so I can't get down to the hip. So they used to carry this, it was more or less in that position there, they used to wear it. And when they collected the coins off the people, they put the coins in the top here, and if they had to give change, they, oh yes please, can you just, you remember where that Rich?
Yeah, 1 second.
But they were able to dispense the coins, all the notes and the extra tickets were held in the pouch here, and they used to have this ticket punch. Now the ticket punch used to cancel the ticket, depending on where the conductor punched the ticket, that indicated to all and sundry how far that passenger was entitled to travel on the tram. So can you just imagine, they also had a bandolero on here that used to hold the extra ticket, so that added more extra weight and bulkiness to the uniform. So, and the conductor's got these tickets in this hand, right? You guys got some of your tickets that you were issued when you came here?
You didn't give me one, okay, but you didn't give me one.
He didn't give you one, no. I'll have his job for that. So, all we do here, we just click to indicate you've done the ride, okay? But the conductor used to have to, he didn't have a shop that he could deliver the tickets, he had to carry the tickets with him. So he used to carry books of tickets, and they had different, 5 or 6 different combinations. So he had to flick the tickets over to make sure he got the right book, give it to the passenger, collect the fare and give the change. Great on a tram like this, but can you imagine the same procedure happening on 65 in wet weather? It'd be horrendous for the conductor. So.
Did they give tickets out for people not buying tickets? So what happened there? Like, did people just jump on it?
They
You
used
know?
to take your name,
Yeah.
and you have to pay it later on. If you refuse to pay it later on, you pick your call.
Oh, really?
You receive the call. There's no honest control. And also, they had the power to put you off the tram.
Oh, they could throw you off. Yeah.
Got any further questions?
When you talk about train tracks and train tracks, is that what's still on Logan Road? There's still some there in the middle?
On Cleveland Road.
That will be a future video.
Girls, can you just sit down, please? Because we haven't had anyone fall out of trams yet.
Yeah.
Imagine paperwork would be horrendous.
Could this accident have been avoided?
Love
Yeah,
that
look,
question.
Have a look around you now. There was a news article on the TV news not so long ago. This bus driver was driving a bus. And of course with the buses there's a safety feature on the doors, and if the doors don't close, the driver can't drive the bus. So he had the option of either just sitting there and waiting for a mechanic to come to fix the bus, or he fiddled with the mechanism and made the bus drive with the door open, which is what he did to get people where they're going.
Of course.
And the outrage, you know. Does he know the door's open? Does he care? People could fall out. Someone could be killed, you know. I'm thinking, oh my God, come out to the museum. And you know, not many people have ever fallen out of these trams. One or two might have, but certainly not what with those big rails on the side. But sort of while they're standing up and that, I just, and we've got a rule here that all passengers remain seated while we're going, for obvious reasons.
Public liability will go up if you have accidents.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if we had a major accident here, we'd be closed.
Yeah, that's what I just said. You'd be shut down.
Every dream world.
That's killed everything, hasn't it? Public liability. It's just...
Well, there was a ski lift down in I think it was either Tasmania or Victoria. They had a major accident there back in the 90s. And after that, they just went through every one of these little museums, and our public liability insurance went up 10 times overnight. And a lot of the mum and dad museums, they just couldn't afford to stay open, so they just closed. So we've been fortunate enough to stay open. Bureaucracy has just gone. We're trying to expand the tram lines out into the parkland, and the reasons that the bureaucracy are coming up with why we can't do that is, I'm sure someone lays awake at night thinking up reasons. The major one is, oh, you're going to cut down trees. We wanted to go to the station. They said, oh no, you can't do that because the embankment will cause flooding in the houses in the street. Well, have a look around. Can you see any embankments on the tram track we've got here at the moment? Trams don't run on embankments. And the latest was out there, oh no, you can't run out there because there's noxious gases on the dump there, and they could cause an explosion. And then there was the possums. Having a tram line through the park might stop the migration of possums at night time.
Oh,
So,
That's not a HST, is it? Wow.
what's the maximum speed they could do? 35 miles an hour.
Okay.
Did you catch my cynicism there?
You go faster? Go faster?
50 miles.
This place is the other
Okay, ladies and gents, that's it for this ride. If you'd like.
It's going to Carina, wherever that is. We're boarding. So that's 65, and I'm gonna board 67. Hello. And oh, you can't go in the cabin.
Huh?
How did they get in there?
I finished the
Oh.
God, you're gonna.
There's a dinosaur. Quick, look this way.
It's like the Hogwarts Express.
Alright, shall we go?
Hopefully they'll do a service.
We're thinking about ice cream.
I was just thinking the same thing. Roll.
Do it.
Hey.
What was that? Wait, can you video me being a guard? So we're just going to get a tram. I don't know.
My mum and you.
I don't know. What's this station called? What would you call this station, Ryan? What's its name?
Fernie.
Fernie? Fernie South.
Fernie South. Oh no, it would be
Fernie North.
What's that? Fernie.
Fernie Central.
Fernie West.
Ah.